For day 3, weeks 1 through 4 for Geneseo, we're going to go through the coaching card for that. Our warm up is still the same for our time allotted. Our group rotations are still the same. We're going to have different movements. Again, like everything else, we'll kind of have videos of each of those. So we're going to move on to the other parts for that. Our block 2, our on the minute, is going to be my coding for OTM, again, just like our day 2. But on the minute is on the 1 minute, right? So it's every 60 seconds. For this, we try to make it so it could be sped up just a little bit. It may seem difficult initially to kind of get that concept down, but once we get rolling, we'll be good to go and we'll be able to develop a lot of volume and strength on our day 3 without really making the individual that sore. And that's going to be very key because around day 3 is when we start to have quite a bit of our competitions going on, or day after competition. Okay. So in this, we're going to have 10 rounds. So this whole thing is going to take 10 minutes, right? And then each of these has to be done within that minute. So if, and again, we kind of have this over here as well. If there are 2 people per group, person 1 is going to do 2 each arm of their dumbbell snatch. Once they're done with that, they're going to set the dumbbell down. They're going to go to their TRX rows. That's TRX are going to be the same suspension systems that we have hanging from the racks. So they'll have 5 reps of that. Once they are done, the remainder of the time is their own to rest. Okay. Again, that if they, like we have over here, if they complete both of these movements in 20 seconds, they have 40 seconds rest, which should be more than enough time. We should go fairly quick through these. The TRX rows are going to be able to adjust difficulty-wise. The more horizontal they become, the more difficult it is. Most males should be able to be perfectly horizontal underneath, so then the ropes are vertical. If females need to be a little bit more of an angle, that is totally fine too. As they become fatigued, if they need to adjust accordingly, awesome, fine. Okay. Again, we're going to be able to build in this volume, but because it is not consecutive, we're no longer going to have that true soreness feeling or that build up in the muscles that they'll then have. Okay. So the structure is going to be identical for 2 and 3 as we kind of go through that. Same concept with this next one, dumbbell or a kettlebell swing. We'll have a video of it. We have 5 reps. After that, we're going to go to our med ball slam for 5 max effort as well. Okay. So again, our push for it is to move as quick as possible, to breathe through it. And so the other piece is we're trying to keep everyone on time, right? So if we're able to have 20 seconds, 40 seconds, 30 seconds rest after each one, that means at the top of each minute, right as that timer buzzes, right as the whistle is blown, we're then going to be able to start. What we're trying to get away from is, hey, we have 20 seconds rest. Okay, now the timer goes off. Okay, let's get back to our racks. Let's go ahead and get set and then start. So we're almost starting 5 to 8 seconds late. We want to try and eliminate that. Right as the timer goes means we start then and there. Okay. So it'll be the same concept. I'm keeping just week 1 on here for our explanation purposes. We have 10 and we're slowly going to develop these 10 up to 12 and then 15 as well. So we'll have longer and longer. Okay. There are no set percentages for this. Everyone's going to be slightly different with our snatch and kettlebell swing. If they're able to progress up into that, fantastic. We're slowly going to increase the volume, but for weeks 1 and 2, find something that they can do relatively easy and then gauge that for them. Okay. Same with the med ball slam. With that, max effort is kind of what we're looking for. Once we're done with those 2 pieces, we're going to go through our flush, similar to what we had on day 1, except now we're going to jog our straights and walk the curves. Okay, our jog is going to be, 60, 65%, and then our walk is going to be a brisk walk on the curves. Okay, so we're going to then utilize this to force out some of that flush, get some of that soreness out of the way, make sure our body feels good going into competition or out of competition. So today might be a little bit lighter in duration wise. But that's fine. So we're going to get for these first 4 weeks really build up that work capacity base, that aerobic base, to develop further on into the season. So the overall big picture is we develop our aerobic first and then develop some strength and volume. So as we get later into season and everything's kind of starts to spike, since almost all athletes are in season all the time, we're able to then still develop strength without making the individual that sore. And then that's also why we put a lot of things to time and kind of develop that way. So after our flush, once everyone is done, make sure everyone gets all 5 total laps. We open it up to have a little bit of autonomy where it is the player's choice for what they would like to do. They can either complete 200 total reps of abs or 100 total reps of arms. In this scenario, we're just kind of throwing them to make sure that we're going to have good exercise adherence to go through it. Almost all individuals think that there could be more abs, more torso, but we've also learned and developed that just because you can do 50 sit-ups doesn't mean you have a strong torso and abs. And so we're trying to develop good bracing, good core stability, and a lot of that is done through our warm-ups or some of our accessory work as well. However, a lot of people kind of like that burning ab, feeling, that sensation, which is totally fine, right? We're never going to say that your abs are too strong. So we're kind of open this up to them for whatever they want. Okay, anything counts for that. If they're doing Russian twists, I usually say, if you go right and left, that counts as one. So you just don't do, half of them. If they want to break it up for either of those and do 10 reps of 10 different exercises, awesome. If they want to do 100 dips for their arms, fantastic. Okay, so whatever it is, I usually do set a time cap for that. Otherwise, that expands out to longer and longer and longer, and people take more and more advantage of it. So we do want to offer some sort of autonomy, yet we also want to kind of regulate the best that we can so it doesn't get out of hand. Okay. For males, I usually say that this is our jersey arms. So if they want to feel like they have big arms, it also helps with that self-confidence piece that we're also trying to develop. Okay. So that's not going to be every day. Sometimes we also have the option to bounce back and forth for a max hold. And then they have your choice of a max hold plank or dip. This is similar to our mystery box. But it's a little bit more autonomous, so they have the choice of that to kind of go back and forth for that. Planks you can kind of leave open as far as if they want to go just side planks or whatever it may be. Our flex arm hang, self-explanatory, and then the dip bar, we usually suggest holding themselves up to kind of have that posture so they don't swing. And again, this is something to see what they have in the tank pushing forward. Okay, so I would suggest total time for that. Everyone starts together. That's just the easiest way to regulate it. That's probably what I would do regardless of what the hold is. I would just say get to your station for that and then go. Once you're done with that, then again, we go to our wall stretch series of any day. I would highly suggest on day 3, really kind of stretch that out, see how they feel with it. Again, the on the minutes eventually are going to become fairly demanding aerobically on their lungs, but they'll still be able to have that recovery piece to have a higher intensity for that, right? So again, on day 3, we're pushing, hey, in those 20 minutes, let's go for it 100%. And then we can kind of slow down that pace a little bit, make sure that everyone is getting the flush that they need, getting the recovery that they need, and forcing those stretches for that as well.